Haley has earned multiple seven figures in the 6+ years she's been a network marketing professional, proving that your home-based business can truly create the life of your dreams if you're willing to work for it. Quickly rising in her professional field as a leader, a speaker, and a coach, Haley has a love 'em and lead 'em philosophy and is dedicated to her team and her company. Haley loves working full-time as a coach, mentor in the direct sales space, and is eternally grateful for the opportunity to pour her passions into others. The fact of the matter is, whether you've been in network marketing for years or just a few days, your family and friends have seen your opportunity and your phone is, as we call it, burnt. If you're anything like me, that's a scary thought. So the big question is, how do entrepreneurs like us, who love the network marketing profession, who no longer want to be that guy, and are tired of convincing people during uncomfortable let's get coffee meetings where they say, what's this all about? How do we market in a way that aligns us with our dream clients and expands our network of upfront and transparent professionals, allowing us to get our time back, our families back, and gain a real passive asset? People like us who value impact over income, we deserve to see our visions once and for all. Join me in this podcast where we'll uncover just how to do that. My name is Eric Sablon. Welcome to Burnt Phone Marketing. All right, guys, welcome to Burnt Phone Marketing. This is Eric Sablon, and I am super excited. I have actually Haley Ragsdale, and what I want you to do is I want you to listen to the intro before this because her intro is fantastic, but because of the time and because I wanted to be very conscious with her time, I literally recorded the intro beforehand. So, guys, please welcome Haley Ragsdale to the show.
Hi, thank you so much. What an exciting thing we have going on here today.
I'm super fired up. I was like, when I got the opportunity to reach out to you and you kind of like, yeah, let's do it. It was like, wow, awesome, super cool. So I'm a bit super fired up. I got some awesome questions and I've got some really good things that I think the audience is really gonna resonate with. But the first thing I want to do is I kind of want a little bit about your backstory. I know you started in the industry about 6 years ago, but kind of like where it started and what you've progressed from there. A little bit about your backstory, who you are. I know you're a grandma and a mom and a wife, and yeah, just kind of a little bit about your backstory, and so the audience can kind of relate to you.
Yeah, thanks. So I am 47 years old and I have 3 grandbabies. And even though I'm not responsible for those 3 little angels, I like to take full credit for how amazing they are, of course, because that's what grandmas do sometimes, right? But I'm from corporate America. I live in Alaska full time. And prior to my network marketing career, I was an oil and gas and mining and industrial chemical specialist. Sounds super sexy, right? And I was in sales and held lots of different roles in my corporate job. And I was with that company for 23 years. 23 years before I retired to build my network marketing business full time. So I, like you mentioned, started about 6.5 years ago. It was actually February 21st of 2013. And much like many people in the profession, I was what we call in my company kind of a kidnapper. It was just a super, inexpensive way to get some free product. Basically, you just pay $100. My company is $100 to join, and then in exchange for $100, you get free stuff and you get a discount. And I'm cheap. I'm a thrifty chick, right? So I was like, heck yeah, sign me up. And then honestly, what really flipped the switch for me is when I went from hobbyist to business owner to really treating it like the multi-million-dollar book of business that it potentially can be for each of us. Is we went to visit our accountant to work out our taxes for 2012, but we visited in 2013 to do our 2012 taxes. And we had a huge tax burden, a huge tax bill. We didn't have any tax deductions. It was just a really heavy time financially for my husband and I. We were both multiple 6-figure earners. So I know a lot of people hear that version of my story and they're like, oh, cry me a river, right? But for me, for my household, for my life, for my goals and dreams and desires, it was a challenge. And so we got in the car after that meeting with our accountant and we're like, oh, babe, we got to find some way to keep more of our money in our own pocket. And how are we going to do that? Historically, in the past, we had real estate. We had rental property, which was a huge tax benefit for us. We didn't have any of that in 2012. And so I told my husband, I'll never forget, I kind of was like, I signed up for this little business in a box over here. I always heard home-based businesses were a great tax deduction if you worked it right and built it. I said, we could see what happens. And he was like, yeah, let's do it. So I got him to commit to supporting me to build my business for hardcore 6 months to see what I could do. In my mind, I set that limit, which I definitely coach people to not do that now. But back then I didn't know. I didn't have a coach. I didn't know anything about the profession, but I gave myself 6 months. And remember, I had a more than full-time corporate gig and a family and all the other stuff going on the side. And so I was building this business in my off time from that. And that meant that I was going to ask my husband to step up, eat some crockpot meals for a while. And we call it the year of crockpot meals because everything was like, what can I do fast? And laundry and support, right? Household support, kind of more of our traditional roles maybe needed to be reversed a little bit, but he's amazing and he's on board. And then I could smell what was possible and I could taste the potential and I could see what I was capable of. And it grew hardcore from there. I loved it. So the rest is history.
That is so awesome. That is like the coolest story because you were your back was against the wall about it wasn't even about, it was about something that you'd already done before. Like it was literally a tax burden that put your back against the wall that says, you know what, I'm going to give this a shot. And what I heard from you is you're from Alaska. And there's so many people out there that are like, well, I'm from this small town, or I'm from here, or I'm from there. What would be a nugget that you'd give to somebody that says, you know what, I'm from Idaho or something like that, and nobody in my town knows anything about this? Or what would be your nugget for a small town person saying, I don't know if this is going to work in my town?
100%. I get that all the time when I coach to this day. And what I would say is, and I'm going to go ahead and be pretty candid here. Please hear me when I say I would never deliver this message in this way to somebody I was personally coaching. But I would say that that's small town thinking, right? Because you live in a small town, you have perhaps created the small town mentality when what you have not yet had the opportunity to learn is that the world is at your fingertips, certainly through social media. So it doesn't get much smaller than where I am. And the perception of limitation doesn't get much bigger than where I am. So I see your small town and I raise you a posture shift. You have to shift your posture if you want to build a business. And listen, if you don't, then this isn't a conversation for you. For those that want to grow past, break through, you have to get out of that small town mentality and embrace the tools and the gifts that are available to us today that our predecessors in this profession didn't have access to. They did not have social media. They did not have YouTube. They don't have any of the things that we have today. I let my small town situation manifest in my own mind for about 37 seconds. And then I was like, okay, what are you going to do to grow through that? So challenge accepted. How can I move past that? And that's what I did. And so, you live in a small town. Perfect. Do you need Wi-Fi to grow through that? Probably. Now, can I help you with that? Maybe not. But identify the problem. How have other people, because here's what we know, if it's ever been done before, it can be done by you. So how have other people from small towns grown through that and embraced the social media? And I'm going to encourage the listener to squash those I can't, those reasons why I cannot, because they're just honestly, truthfully, wholehearted, with love, I'm here to say it's they're excuses. They're excuses. And they're set points that you have created for yourself. They are unrealistic. They don't matter at all what your population in your zip code is. It matters no bit at all.
Yeah, that's crazy, because I like what you said. There's set points, and people, they put those set points on themselves, and unless they have someone's really there to push them to the next level. And that's one of the really cool things about you is you do a lot of mentoring, you do a lot of coaching, but pushing you to the next level. It's like Bannister, how he broke the mile, and then all of a sudden everybody broke the mile. Not everybody, but a lot of people ended up breaking the mile. And I think that people need to come outside of their shell and come outside of their comfort zone. And that is exactly the nugget that a lot of the listeners would really, really need. So you talked about social media. I'm loving this interview right now because it's flowing right into it. You talked about social media. So what would be 2 tips that you would give, because this is a marketing podcast. So what would be 2 tips that you would give for the network marketer that's either coming in and, you know, you don't want them to look like an infomercial, but you want them to understand that their product is out there. And then the second one would be, what about those people that say, I can't talk about my product on the internet? Mm-hmm. What is that? I mean, what 2 tips would you give for those?
Yeah, so I would say that a couple things I would like to say. The first big lesson probably would be my thread of advice is the age-old saying, comparison is the thief of joy, right? And so I think we all need to manage our emotions and our expectations around how quickly we are going to build a book of business using social selling and social media, and not compare ourselves to the people that came before us that have a different story. A lot of people will look at me and say, oh, she's a multiple 7-figure earner in only 6 years, top of her company, whatever, in only 6 years. But the reality is it took me 41 years to do that. My story is not your story, is not her story, is not his story. You don't know what I came to the table with, what my network was beforehand, what my resources were beforehand. You cannot compare yourself to what other people are doing. So stay in your lane and recognize and manage your emotions around the fact that you are building a brand. Listen, no one sees you as an expert in your field unless you have joined a direct sales network marketing or MLO company that is a spin-off of what you have crafted as your previous profession in corporate America or in another space, right? So for example, I'll just use my own business as an example. I'm in the makeup and skincare space. I was in the oil and gas and mining profession before. How can I possibly come onto Facebook and expect everyone to automatically look at me as an expert in makeup and skincare when I have no experience and have never shared one single thing about makeup and skincare? So you're building your brand, you're building your recognition, your followers, your network. They don't perhaps yet see you as a professional in that space. So be patient with yourself. Craft a plan to build your following, to build your marketing, to build your brand on social media. Recognize that you are building a business. You are not dropping parachute style into an established millionaire book of business. I think so often we look to stories like my own. Let's say some of your listeners maybe will Google me, they'll research me, and they'll look to me maybe for inspiration on how their perception of how quickly my journey, how quickly I ranked. But you need to know that that's my story, that's my journey, that's my position and my posture. Doesn't mean it will be yours. So please manage your emotions around that and be in it for the long haul. So many times I find that people are like, I'm going to give this 10 minutes of my time and, oh, it didn't work out, I give up. Well, that is no way. I can't imagine that any adult human being would ever encourage their child to look at something that their child is crafting for their future in that way. Why would we give up in 10 minutes, right? So that would probably be my biggest piece of advice, that social media is a tool. It is not a guarantee for success. So you have to figure out how to build your brand, how to create influence with in your space, and be authentically you. Don't copy. Don't expect that it's going to happen as quickly as it has based on your perception of how quickly it's happened for others. So I just want to circle back and kind of close that comment with saying, you might look at me and my intro and think, she became a multiple 7-figure earner in her network marketing direct sales company in 6 years. I'm here to tell you that's not it. It's I'm 47 years old. It's the 41 years of experience that I have and my network and my skill set and what I have done in my entire adult life. Every human I've met, every experience I've had that has brought me to this place that took me to where I am today.
It's that whole iceberg thing. Like, you don't see the bottom of the iceberg. The whole 41 years that you went through, built a network, not even in that business, but then literally took what you learned. I love what you said. I took what I learned in the 41 years and applied it to my business in my own way. and created that
Yes.
in my own way.
There are people in my space, in my company, and even outside my company, but in the same skincare makeup space that I'm in my profession, that are far more successful than I am, and achieved far more success far faster than I am. My company publishes every month the top 100 earners, and I lately have been averaging, and they publish it every month. So for the previous month. And lately I've been averaging in the 30s or so, like I was 36, I believe, last month, for example. So there are 35 people on that list that are earning more money than I am. And some of those people, and only one of those people have been in the business longer than I have, in my company longer than I have, which I think is pretty telling, right? So I'm going to kind of stick another pointer in here that you can come into this profession at any point and out-earn your upline. 100% yes. So having said all of that, I say that to share that it's really critical that you are in it and stay in it and stay in your lane, blinders on, focus on your business, because you're an independent business owner. And I kind of lost track of what my thought was going to be right before that, or what I was going to share right before that. But I can't stress that enough, how important it is to not compare yourself to others. And your goal, in my opinion, your mission needs to be more important than your commission. And as soon as you're more invested in your team meeting their goals, the faster and bigger you'll see your own paycheck rise.
Wow, your mission's got to be bigger than your commission. That is...
You got to care more about your mission and empowering others than you do your own commission. We get paid in this profession, in my opinion, based on how many lives we can impact and how many lives we can change, who we can help. It's extending the opportunity to others and then helping them meet their personal goals, meeting them where they're at, help them build their own personal book of business. And the more people you plug into your company and the more people you support and help, the bigger your paycheck's going to grow organically. But when I care more about you and you meeting your goals for your family than I do myself, is when I really began to see my paycheck increase. And listen, I'm money motivated. I'm not ashamed to say it. I am a money motivated girl, right? So as soon as I could tap into that, hopefully that's a tip for your listener. As soon as the faster you tap into it being about your team and less about you, the faster you're going to see your paycheck go up.
Right. That is a big note. I learned that one a long time ago. As you grow, your paycheck grows, but also as you pour more into your team, all of a sudden, like magically something happens where like this person that you didn't think was going to do anything, all of a sudden just blossoms into something gigantic. And then you just keep pouring into that person and they grow. And then they look at you a year, 6 months later and like, you did this. And you helped me get to where I'm at, because when you found me, I was hurting. Yes. And those stories are the ones, and it might be $100, it might be $500, I mean, it might be $10,000. It doesn't matter what it was. You took them from that one spot to the next place where they needed to go. And then they're going to look back at you and say, take me to the next spot, take me to the next place. And mentoring is just such an amazing thing. And I'm glad you do that. And that's just huge. I love doing it. I have a mentorship call later on today that I love doing. It's
excellent.
So you've been in the network marketing industry as a professional for about 7 years. Mm-hmm. I want you to think back 7 years ago. What was it? February 21st?
February 21st, 2013.
February 21st, 2013. I want you to think about what you would have told yourself that day. And I mean, you kind of had your back against the wall, but what you would have told yourself that day to increase the speed of your business?
Great question. And I know exactly the answer for me. Won't be the answer for her or him, but it is for me. I would have changed what I spoke about joining the business. I would, instead of being like, it's just $100. If it doesn't work out, it's no big deal. I would have looked at it like, holy cow, for $100, I can buy into a potentially multi-million-dollar book of business for only $100. This is a gift I've been given to I would have worked it like a business. I would have treated it like a business from day one. I didn't do that. I completely said, it's $100. I get $300 worth of product or whatever, right? Like, that's how I treated it. I'm not going to build it. I'm like, right? Like, I was totally just didn't give it the value that I should have and could have. The second thing I would have done is, so to just kind of close that, I would have treated it like a multi-million-dollar book of business from day one. Because I believe that by shifting my posture around it and my mindset around it, I would be in even bigger, better, different place than I am today if I had done that simple thing, right? That simple shift. The second thing I would say to that is I would have done a better job of capturing my network offline out of my back office that my company supports. I use an online system now. There's lots of them available. I don't earn any money off of the one that I use, but I use one. I won't say the name, but you can Google it or find it or private message me. I'll be happy to show you the one I use. But it's a customer management program, basically, where you're plugging in the customer's information, the colors they use, what they purchase. When you contact them, it sets a reminder to follow up with them, right? Fortune's in the follow-up. I didn't do any of that. It was probably 2 years into my business, if I'm being truthful, that I really found the value in the follow-up and the tracking of my prospects, my customers, just my network in general, even people that would never even join my business. So Eric, you and I have met now. You're going into my contacts, into my network tracking, and I wouldn't have ever done that before. And why wouldn't I have captured that network? I think that for no other reason than you don't know what your future is going to hold. Why wouldn't you prep? Why wouldn't you prepare? Right? It's almost like whether I wish I would have tracked my network honestly since high school, if I'm being honest. Imagine if I had the contact information for every human being I mean, obviously that's an exaggeration, but you know what I'm saying? Like every person in my network, if I still had that information, how powerful of a tool that could be, not only for my business, but for charitable things I want to do in the future. Reaching out, asking for support, reaching out, asking, for references, referrals, things like that. Even not business related. If I had only had that. And I honestly feel like I lost 2 years of Fortune follow-up because I failed to capture those conversations. And those would be my two main pieces of advice.
Wow. So the CRM is huge, but the one thing that you really talked about was being able to basically nurture your network all the way back. They always say your network is your net worth. But one thing that I've noticed is I read a book called Dig Your Well Before You're Thirsty. And if you've never read that book, Harvey McKay is a genius. And he somehow can always reach out to his people. He knows everybody in the room. He knows everything that's going on. He knows everything about you. There's literally something called the McKay 66, which a lot of salespeople use and put that inside their follow-up tool. And guys, if you use the follow-up tool, the fortune is in the follow-up. And to be able to reach out to them with something that they already said, or that because you were listening. And one thing that I'm noticing here is that shift in that 2 years, you just became a better listener. You tracked your numbers, and you looked at the things that you looked at opportunities a little bit differently.
Yeah, I think that it would never surprise anyone listening to this call that a brick and mortar business tracks their customer traffic, what the average spend is, what their average order amount is, how many orders a month they process. I know for a fact that every brick and mortar store down the road from me does that. Why don't I do that with my direct sales business? It just is asinine that we don't treat it like a business, that we don't put our business hats on and listen. I know half the listeners here are introverts, shy. You are not excluded from this. And it's not about yes, we are in the business to collect relationships and collect friends. I'm just simply suggesting that you start logging those people that you meet, because you don't know. I can't tell you how many times I've reached out to somebody that has a really good cook, and I'm looking for a really great recipe. It's not just about your business. It's about making those connections and maintaining those connections and raising your influence within your community. There are a few people in the world that don't want to feel like they are helpful for you when you ask them for something. And so if I know that you're an expert in how to tile bathrooms, I'm going to ask you for your expert advice on how to tile bathrooms. And that's a network connection. But now you can feel good about supporting me with a question or a concern or an idea. And I'm grateful to you for doing that. And it's just all part of our bigger network. And no matter what I do in the future, now we have a relationship. Yes, it was based on bathroom tiling, but who knows in the future how I can add value to your life or how you can add value to mine.
Right, because it's all about reciprocating. It's all about
That's right.
reciprocating
Reciprocal
somebody.
relationships. Absolutely.
Yeah, I mean, if you're a taker, you're going to be a taker forever. But if you're out there looking to reciprocate whatever people are doing for you, your life is going to be a lot better,
100%.
way better.
Mhm.
So the next question I have is, what are you working on right now? And where can the audience find you?
Oh, that's so sweet. So actually the timing is really good. I'm even a high performer like myself has anxiety about branching out into new things sometimes, right? Like even people, I feel like sometimes people think I have it maybe together or something crazy like that. And I so don't. Let me be the first to tell you that I am doing the cha-cha with my own business, right? Like I've hit the top rank and now I'm back down a couple ranks. And so I am working on building my own business. Something I did launch last night, actually, that I'm really excited about, and your listener will be the first to hear about, is coaching for people in my professional space, but outside my company. So I have been coaching off and on different people in different direct sales network marketing companies. And we've had some incredible breakthroughs and brainstorm sessions, and it's just been so amazing. And so now I am really excited to announce that I can offer that. So if that is something that is interesting to someone in your audience, I would love to connect, and they can just go to my website, HaleyRagsdale.com, and read about me, click coaching for more information. I would say that that's the latest kind of new thing I'm doing, kind of some generic coaching. I'm also, of course, always looking to inspire and empower other people inside and outside my profession. They can always follow me on my business page. That stuff is free. You can follow me on Facebook, that kind of thing. I just want to add value and positivity, and my platform is actually Beauty is a Verb. And so I believe that there are things we can do as specifically women, but also obviously men, on social media that elevates the compassion, the caring, the positivity, not in a Pollyanna kind of like, fake way, in an authentic way, by sharing our struggles, our champions, all of that in a more positive way. And so that's just something I personally am committed to trying to do. And I will also say that one of my mentors, I have stolen this quote from her because I just love it so much. She said that when she was starting, and she worked so hard, and her family, her close network, her close friends would come to her and be like, you're just working so hard and you're not making any money, right? Because as we know, in this space, you work really hard and make no money so that you can live later, make all the money, right? And so she said, what I discovered was I had to let go of what other people's expectations and perceptions of me were, because I didn't have a million days to earn $1 million. That's what she said. She said, I figured out and tapped into the fact that I didn't have a million days to earn $1 million. And that was my experience. My husband is older than I am, and we always had a plan to retire him early so that we could spend our years together, our later years of our marriage together. But what I failed to recognize in that grand master plan was the fact that I was still going to have to freaking go to work every day. So he's home retired, living his best life. But this girl's driving, commuting 1 hour each way, living in a cubicle, eating Hot Pockets, microwave meals, wearing what they tell me to wear, doing what they tell me to do. And so that's when I was like, oh man, I don't have a million days to earn $1 million. I have to fast track my goal. And so if that is you listener, if those listening in right now, if that is something you're feeling as well, that how can I fast track? I think it's just going to be critical that you continue to plug into the mind strengthening things that are available to you, like Eric's podcast. All these tips, you want to listen to these podcasts. Your car should, in my opinion, should be a rolling university. I can't tell you the last time I had the radio on in my car. So I listen to the radio, I listen to music in the shower, and there's always music going on in the background of my home. But in my car, I'm a podcast girl. Mm-hmm. I'm listening for those nuggets, those things that are going to propel me forward faster. And so you guys, I would say that I know that the question was, what am I working on? But I wanted to share what I'm working on that you can tap into, but also wanted to share what I'm working on for me personally.
Mm-hmm.
So Haley Ragsdale, what is Haley Ragsdale doing to continue to move forward in her business? And I would say the number one thing I'm doing right now for myself is self-development, self-improvement. And for me, that looks like podcasts like Eric's offering here.
I was listening to Myron Golden the other day, and he said this, he said, you know, the thing that's going to change your life the fastest is the books you read and the people you meet. The books you read, the people you meet. The books you read, the people you meet. It doesn't say radio. He said the books you read, the people you meet.
100%, yes.
And it's a nugget. And when you get into this industry, all of a sudden there's this huge shift. There's a huge change into personal development. I never read a book that I didn't have to read in high school.
Yeah.
Ever. I say from the stage, I was a C student on a good day. I took a test for something that I was really inspired by, some sort of mini chat, a chat bot sequence thing, a test. I aced it. I don't think I've aced a test ever, but I'm super excited about it, and I'm learning how to learn, which is huge. Because
I do want to pop in and say that I'm also going to encourage the listeners to not be career learners. You have to take action. Listen, you are never going to make a dime in this profession. And I say dime because look, I have, this is a liter. Did you know that if you fill a soda bottle with dimes, that gives you about $500 or $600? And so I put every dime I come across in this bottle. So you're never going to earn a dime if you don't just take action at some point. So I want to encourage the listener to find a balance between being a career learner, which is so important. You have to read, you have to listen, balance with action. You can't just read a book 24/7, fail to take any action in your business, and then cry a river because you don't have any money, right? You have to sell, you have to book, sell, sponsor, book, sell, sponsor, book, sell, sponsor. So find that balance, enrich your mind, but don't live in that space because you're not going, it's going to be false. It's going to be false progress.
Right. It's not going to pay the bills. Like you can learn.
Pay the bills.
It's like school. I mean, you go to school, you pay for it. You're not learning. I mean, you're not getting paid to go to school. So, but learning it on your own is definitely a big thing. So I always ask this question. It's one of my last questions. In your business today, what's the one thing that keeps you up at night? Good, bad, or both?
What keeps me up at night with my business, I would say, is a couple things. I am passionate about the success of the people that choose me as their sponsor into the profession. I literally will lay awake at night wondering how Christine is doing, how Kim is doing, how can I help Nikki grow her business and meet her goals for her family. I am always brainstorming, like, how can I help her tap into her strengths and turn them into profit for her family. So that keeps me up. The other thing that keeps me up, quite frankly, is how can I build my own business? How can I break through some of my own fears about going next level? I've been wanting to do stage speaking outside of my company for a long time. I'm not nervous. Nervous isn't the right word. Maybe I haven't taken the steps to break through to figure out how to do it. There are lots of things I want to do regarding multiple streams of income. This independent kind of generic coaching and direct sales counseling process program that I've just instituted, that's something I have been wanting to do, that people that have been in my corner have been telling me I need to do for years and years and years. And I have my own fears around that I had to break through. And that has kind of kept me up at night. What would that look like? Am I good enough? Do I have anything of value? How can I ask someone to pay me for my time? We get all up in maybe our own head about it. So regarding from a business point of view, those are probably the things that have kept me up at night. More so, I am so invested in the success of my team that I love them. I worry for them. I plot for them. I plan for them. I brainstorm. I brand for them. And I love it. So it's not a negative thing. But it does. It keeps me up. My brain is always spinning when it comes to that.
I really love, and I think the audience really love, that you actually name people. Like you actually see them. Like I'm watching you. You actually see, like you're talking to them. Like,
yes,
how you can do it, and this is how you can do it. And it really, when you as a sponsor feel that way about your team and about the person, it doesn't matter if you have a team of 1 or a team of thousands. It doesn't matter. That person believes in you. He or she joined you. So like, I just, like the nugget that I saw just now when I saw you just name people, it's like, wow, that, like, you guys, I'm going to put this on YouTube, and this will be simulcast on the podcast, because the nuggets that you're getting here and just the visual cues are phenomenal. So, gosh, wow. So I'm actually going to build a small website for Haley, and it basically will be www.burnfomarketing.com/Haley. We'll actually put a link in there for her. So you can scroll down, you'll see a part of this interview, or maybe a video that she gives me to put on there. And then you can click on it and it'll drop you right into her website. So that way you guys can check out the coaching, check out the mentoring, because coaching and mentoring is what's changed my life. When I first got into this, I was awing and everything. And it just takes a while to really get comfortable in your skin. And just coaching and mentoring is really going to help you. But also, I want to make sure that you listen to the full outro, because like always, I always give something away for free. I'm giving away the Network Marketing Summit. So basically, it's going to give you, you know what? Just listen to the outro. Listen to the full outro, and you'll be able to see exactly what I'm giving away. So one last question, the mic drop question that I love to ask, that I've kind of changed my flow a little bit. What's the one, you said you wanted to be on stage. What's the one thing that you would mic drop, basically, when you're on the stage? Stage is huge. There's thousands of people in there. The one thing that they say when they're walking out the door and they're saying, the nugget that she gave me was this. What does it look like?
Wow, that's tough without some time to think about it. I think some of the feedback I've gotten on some things that I have shared often revolves around developing your personal brand. A lot of nuggets, a lot of like mind blown things come from that. But maybe kind of going back to I don't have a million days to earn $1 million. When I share that from stage, or I share kind of, there's a lot more to it than just that phrase, but I think that phrase kind of sums it up, is people begin to recognize, specifically in my experience when it comes to how conditioned we are, especially in the US, that we work for 50 years and then we retire when we're 62, 65, 72, whatever, right? Like that's just how it is. That's just how it works. When the government tells us we can collect Social Security, we have to work until that point. And so I think what I would love to shake people of is this, just kick them out of the mindset that it's not up to them when they get to live their best life, whatever that looks like. It is up to us. It is up to you. When digging the well before you're thirsty, manage your finances, become debt-free so that you have options, and work your side hustle to a point that it can replace your corporate or your day job, so that you can craft that life that you want to live before you're 70 years old. The only reason that we would have to work until the government tells us that we have to work, and I don't want to sound all government conspiracy theorist here, I'm totally not, but that would have been my life if I hadn't made a pivot, right? If I hadn't seen the brick wall and pivoted, that would have been my life. And I'm here to tell you, I redesigned my life, and you can redesign yours if you're willing to do it. Now, there is a stigma still, sadly, but it's diminishing, about our profession. But that is because you're not hanging out with the right people. You're hanging out with the people that are hobbyists in the profession. You're not hanging out with the leaders, the people that have made this their life goal, made this into their career. I'm not saying it's easy. I'm saying it's better, and it's an option, and it's up to you to build it. So start hanging out with people like Eric and myself that are professionals in that space. They say you're the sum of the 6 people you surround yourself with. So who are you surrounding yourself with? The people in your cubicle at your 9 to 5, or the forward thinkers, the entrepreneurs, the breakthrough artists, right? You want to be hanging out with people like us so that you can see what's possible. So lock arms with us, hang out with us, make sure the people you're following are crafting an algorithm of success for yourself. You get to decide. Real quick, and I know we have to wrap this up because nobody has all day, but I think this is important. So I am not a political person. I'm not a negative news person. My Facebook algorithm is set to positivity and beautiful things, and I had nothing but laughter and joy and fun. If you look at my husband's social media, it's all politics, it's all war stuff, it's all police brutality, it's all negative, 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 because that's what he clicks on. That's what he has given his attention to in the past. No more, because we had a little conversation about that. But if you could kind of smell what I'm stepping in, why is my Facebook positive, forward thinking, inspirational, all of this, and his is super negative, downer, terrible, 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 soul crushing stuff? It's because I created my own algorithm, and you can create yours too. Click on what you want your life to become. Spend time reading, viewing, listening to what you want to have happen in your life. Look forward. Click on those things that are adding value, not the things that are keeping you where you are today, if where you are today is where you've decided you don't want to be tomorrow. So create your own personal algorithm for your life, for your business, for your family. You get to decide, but you have to make that decision and then set your goal and then create a plan of action to achieve your goal. Nobody's going to deliver it to you. It is not going to happen without you rolling up your sleeves and getting dirty. It is work. You guys, listen, I didn't sleep for 4 years, but it was blissful because I was creating something different for my family, and I was willing to do the hard work, and I was willing to eat freaking pot roast out of a crock pot twice a week, every week for 4 years, because that's the only thing I knew how to cook in a crock pot back then. You have to decide. What hurts you? They say your why should make you cry. I don't know if I necessarily believe that, but I think the why that they're speaking of is the what hurts you. Figure out what hurts you. And listen, if you can meet all of your goals doing exactly what you're doing day in and day out, then more power to you. Right. Don't stop. Live your best life. Do you, girl? Keep going. But if what you want, you can't achieve unless you make changes, make the freaking changes. And don't let another minute pass before you do it. You're not going to get that time back.
I love the million days. Don't have a million days to make $1 million. That is a nugget, guys. You gotta write that down. Hashtag that. Write that down. Just know that you don't have that, and you're right. We do kind of have to wrap this up, but I'd love to have you back on maybe another time after you really get the mentorship part dialed in. That would be awesome. Just kind of like the launch and then boom, the super launch. But yeah, I'm super excited. So like I said, guys, surround yourself with the right people. I love what she said. You're the average of the six people you surround yourself with. And ask yourself, is that okay? I mean, are you okay with the 6 people that you hang around with? Because if you're going to the bar every night, you're going to hang out with the 6 people that go to the bar every night. You go to the gym, guess what? You might be fit. You might actually be fit. You're at the gym all the time hanging out with those people. But you surround yourself with the 6 people, and always ask yourself, am I in the top rung of that, or I'm in the bottom rung of that? Do I need to find some new friends? And when those new friends come around, because every once in a while one goes away or something happens and he doesn't hang out or she doesn't hang out, be very, very tight on the people that you're letting into that group, because that is your mentors group. That is your soul group. That is the group that helps you through the struggle. So guys, again, thank you, Haley, for jumping on. I was so excited. This interview was fire, boom, fireworks the whole time. I'm totally blessed that you came on. And guys, just make sure that you listen to the full outro, and again, make sure that you grab the free offer that Haley's given us, because it's not always free, but think about it. If you're willing to invest in something that's awesome, you can become awesome. So Haley, thank you so much, guys.
My honor.
I appreciate it. Again, we'll catch you on the next episode of A Burnt Phone Marketing Radio. Thanks, guys. Hey, thanks for listening. Please remember to rate and subscribe. I know it's hard to find people to pitch or talk to when your warm market dries up. So what do? When I first got started, I took off like most of you did. Then you started to get that feeling of being that guy. Me too. So to help you from hitting that brick wall, I've created a summit with the top 10 network marketing professionals. for you, 100% complimentary. Yes, it's free. I want to start off by building an amazing relationship with you. So no matter if you've been in the industry for years or you just got started, this summit is for you. So go to www.burnphonemarketing.com and get your complimentary network marketing summit. Again, that's BURNTPHONE marketing.com and get access to this phenomenal summit. There you are going to find 3 keys to building a solid network marketing business. Number 1, belief. Number 2, strategy. And number 3, action. So to get access, go to www.burnphonemarketing.com and get your complimentary network marketing summit. Again, that's burnphonemarketing.com.